When I sit down and I think by myself about why we ended up in this predicament, I always come up with the answer of culture. What is Black culture? How is it impacting Black America? Is it for the better or is it for the worse? Here to discuss all of those things with me is first and foremost, a personality. If you are not following online, he goes by the moniker Kingface. Welcome to the Candace Owens
I'm
Show.
happy to be here. Thank you for having me.
Kingface is also, for those of you that are listening, he is one of my Black City ambassadors. He speaks to the Black community, and by himself, he is the founder of something called the DAD Project, which stands for Developing American Dreams. Just give us your take on what's happening right now with Black Lives Matter and all of these protests and riots.
I mean, I just think it's in a sense a test to see who they can control and who they can't. Black Lives Matter, they've always used the emotions of Black people in order to get their agendas to be pushed. And I've noticed that it's like everything is emotional. It's like everything, you got cops shooting somebody and they put this certain narrative. And what that does in our community, it builds fear. And once you're afraid of something, especially with officers who you're supposed to feel safe around, and they keep pushing that narrative, people are going to now be put in more positions to have those things happen because that's how they make their money. That's how they get their exposure, is through the death of Black men. They don't get it from actually, protecting Black lives at all. Nothing is about Black Lives Matter that has to do with any Black lives. If somebody could show me when they've been around to actually prevent these George Floyd incidents, as you would say, from happening, then I could look at Black lives like it's a positive thing. But they're not doing that. If this exists, then I want to see it. A kid going to school, minding his business, getting good grades, no record, getting shot by a cop. Is it a coincidence that everybody that's shot by a cop has a bad record? The thing that we keep ignoring is comply. Like, comply. What is so difficult with that? What's so difficult with respect? What's so difficult about that? If when I get pulled over by a cop, I don't automatically get nervous like everybody else because I know I don't have nothing in my car. The most I could do is get a ticket. Now, how could I avoid the ticket just in case? Just be as respectful as possible. When cops pull me over, especially at night, I roll all my windows down, turn all the lights on in the car, take my key, put it on the roof of the car, and put my hand on the steering wheel. When they come, you gotta understand the fear that they have as an officer. If they approaching the car, it didn't happen many times that the news don't talk about. They get shot as soon as they walk up to the window because they don't know what they expect. That's why even now you see cops will be nervous. They'll walk in
Mm-hmm.
like this because they don't know what to expect. But if I turn all the lights on, windows down, my hands on the steering wheel, key on top of the roof, he knows what's going on in my car. He knows there's nobody else in there. He knows I'm not going nowhere, and he knows I don't got no weapon to do anything to him because my hands is on the steering wheel.
Mm-hmm.
They come comfortable. They fit, and that energy automatically shifts. So even if they feel like it's gonna be one of those sketchy calls, the energy shifts. Like, oh, okay, they respect me. They be, how you doing, officer? They'll be like, license and registration. Sure. I don't have to go. Well, what you pulled me over for? What you did that?
Because I'm Black.
Yeah, and that's the automatic first thing that comes to their mind. But
Mm-hmm.
this is what they're being programmed to think. And I'm like, that's dangerous. Because when you're nervous, you might make a move that you shouldn't make. And cops are just as scared, if not more than you. They deal with this every day. So they might, especially now in this climate, it's like you can get shot. So it's teaching our kids fear and stuff like that. We have to be more on teaching them how to prevent it from happening. And by having respect for the job that they're doing and respect your life. Comply.
How difficult is it to comply? How difficult is it to not go to prison 9 times? How difficult is it to not be high, holding a counterfeit bill? Don't have the cops called on you. Don't put yourself in any circumstance close to that. And people have a hard time having that conversation because it centers around respect. And I think the Black community has a very hard time with respect. In fact, we're a very disrespectful community. We celebrate being disrespectful. We're anti-establishment. The police, right? Call the female, right? How can our youth flourish when we're teaching and promoting and celebrating and applauding disrespect?
Because even in Brooklyn right now, when you look, the crime rate is going up in Brooklyn. We've had the other day, there was literally 7 shootings in 10 minutes. Like, I'm talking about different areas in Brooklyn. So it's like, what influenced that? When you look at the lifestyle of Chicago, we done took in the whole drill music, and into as soon as that we got that into our community, the gang violence shot up extremely. But it's all about being cool. And it's like, you willing to die to be cool?
It's so funny you say that because so I was just telling you offline that I added an addendum to my book on culture, and I literally said Black America has a problem with wanting to be cool. I used the exact word, and there's a quote in that chapter that I want to bring up, which was a quote that was written by Confucius, who was a Chinese philosopher. I think it was like he was a Chinese philosopher from 440 BC, I mean, long time ago. And he said, if one should desire to know whether a kingdom is well governed, if its morals are good or bad, the quality of the music will furnish the answer. And when I read that quote, I instantly thought about Black America and the quality of the music, right? What you're putting in your ear is going to tell you whether or not the morals in this community are good and bad. I'm very Black. I just don't recognize this decade of being Black
Yeah,
because
this
this is
culture.
not what Black was in the 1940s. This is not what Black was in the 1950s. This is not when my grandfather was listening to music. The number one song was The Temptations. My Girl, right? I write about this in the chapter. The first words of My Girl, I got sunshine on a cloudy day, and when it's cold outside, I've got the month of May. And then I looked at the top song right now in Black America, and it's Megan Thee Stallion and Beyonce. And the first lyrics are like, I'm that, I'm this, wait. And I'm thinking this happened in the span of 40 years, right? 40 years. So what happened to Black culture?
And I mean, that is what happened to Black culture. Because once it became like you have to live a certain type of way, now it's like there's no other way to live. It's like, and we congratulate stupidity in the Black community. Like, the more stupid you are, it's like, yeah. And I tell people, I was like, why you think kids didn't want to grow up going to school? Because going to school, you became a nerd. It's like they don't respect you. When it comes to like people coming home from jail compared to somebody that's coming home from college, you see the difference in love and respect. And you know who gets it? The guy that comes home from jail.
The more successful you become, the less the hood wants anything to do with you. And this is so tragic. Black, right? What it means to be Black is you have to pretend to be uneducated. You have to speak broken English. Who wants to play that? Eventually you say, okay, you know what? I'm done with this. I've tried my whole life, and they have. I mean, they tried their whole lives to help the Black community, and we just rejected them. We said they're Uncle Toms and they're coons and they're race traders.
But we keep pushing our heroes away from us.
That's it.
And then talking about, oh, we don't got nobody representing us. We got nobody doing this. I'm like, even when I'm in the hood and people talking junk, I'm like, bro, you got somebody that is respected by the White House, bro. Like, we never had nobody that looked like me in the White House representing. I got tattoos all over my face, my hands. I'm in the White House, and you would think people would judge me. And it's like, they didn't. They love me and respect me for my mind and what I'm able to do.
Case in point, when I posted a photo, of my husband, and someone wrote, I mean, the racist comments under there for Black people, this must be why she's conservative. Oh, the white man, this. I said, just imagine that reversed. Imagine a white guy is married to a Black woman and he posts a photo of his Black wife, and a bunch of white people comment under there, oh, look, that's why you're betraying our race. It's unfathomable. Could you imagine if a bunch of white people commented under that after seeing a Black woman marrying a white man? People would go crazy. They would say this is an example of racism, but Black people do it comfortably, talking about, and I'm sitting here, when you even say that, you should be ashamed of yourself for not knowing your history. Your ancestors died for that right, okay? Like what Love versus Virginia, the Supreme Court case, when they literally got imprisoned, a Black and a white person for falling in love. You know what I mean? These people fought to end that sort of discrimination so that you could marry who you love, right? True equality, being able to marry who you love, where their background doesn't matter. And you're ashamed of that. You say you want integration, but you're fighting for more segregation. LeBron James is number one to me. I mean, he's so talented on the court, but this is not an educated man, right? And so he takes the bait, and a bunch of people follow him, and they go, oh yeah, see, LeBron's actually Black. LeBron, you are hurting Black America when you lie, when you don't research the fact, when you send a tweet and say we're literally being hunted, absent any facts, you're not a hero in that regard.
Well, I tell people, like, look, at the end of the day, we have to focus on the real situations, because if we take care of the real situation, the police brutality situation would disappear.
Right. Because you'll have upstanding citizens.
exactly.
Police don't want to get into these confrontations with black people.
You
You
know,
know what I mean?
yeah. So it's like, what is our problems? Fatherhoods, lack of education,
Lack of
culture,
respect.
lack
Yeah.
of respect. Like, so why don't we focus on those things that's really destroying our community? I think, especially from this conservative movement, I'm seeing a lot of young black people that are like giving us hope. Like, oh man, we can make it happen. Two people gonna wake up, because I seen it. I got hundreds of thousands of people that hit me up like, yo, you changed my life, bro. Like, I used to think this type of way, and now listening to you. So I know people want to listen, because at the end of the day, as we continue to tell the truth, whether we get backlash for it or not, eventually the truth is going to prevail. You cannot beat the truth. It doesn't matter how long the battle is with the lie. The truth is always gonna win.